Oh, I don't pay for suits. My suits are on the house, or the house burns down.
Welcome back to the Red Right Hand Podcast, the show that covers each and every episode of the BBC/Netflix hit show, The Peaky Blinders. I'm Josh.
And I'm Curtis.
And we are back this week for Season 3, Episode 3, still only titled Episode 3.
Ooh, Season 2, Episode 3.
What could the episode hold?
No, you did that wrong. I'm saying you said the wrong season.
Did I say Season 3?
You said Season 3, Episode 3.
I keep saving that.
I
as
must
the
have
wrong
blacked out,
too.
man.
Yeah,
Can we get a recap of that last season, though? Because I don't even know what happened.
We're halfway through Season 3 now. No, we're halfway through Season 2. And the episode starts with one we were talking about last week. It's a cover of Red Right Hand. But this time it is PJ Harvey. What was the original one?
Nick Cave and the
Bad Seeds?
Bad Seeds, yeah.
Okay.
This one's pretty good. I like this version.
Yeah.
I mean, I like the original too, but I thought this was a pretty good version.
It's quiet and somber. I didn't look at the subtitles, but I would guess it says ethereal, like they all do.
I don't think it did.
No.
I don't think it said it at all.
Okay.
Oh.
But it's a light show, which is kind of like a puppet show, but just like done with lights.
Like paper figures, I guess, or whatever.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I was thinking. Kind of cool looking.
Yeah. And it looks like some kids I don't know if it was an orphanage or there's just like some children from the area in there watching him. But at the back of the room, there's a guy who I think later they say like it's his light show. And somebody comes up behind him and strangles him. And just it's kind of a weird scene, like the music that's playing and the kids, and meanwhile behind him this guy's getting choked out.
I just never understood this scene. Maybe you could explain it to me.
It's like
the importance of it, because I just didn't. I mean, I've never been able to really connect, and maybe I just haven't really been paying attention good enough. But I just never been able to really connect it to, what's happening or whatever.
Yeah, it's the very next scene where it's like where they kind of, I guess, tell what was going on there. So this guy gets strangled, and that's the end of the scene. It goes straight from there to Moss and Campbell talking at the police station. And Moss is just kind of like throwing jabs at him. It's like we were talking about last episode. I think Campbell kind of had it in his head when he comes back that the police will be kind of working for him like they were before, but they're almost loyal to Tommy at this point.
Well, that's what I was thinking too when I saw this scene. It's like every time either Moss or Shelby or Thomas Shelby is, in the presence of Major Campbell, they always got to give him, crap for what happened the last time he was here.
Yeah.
Which is just hilarious to me. It's like he can't escape it.
Yeah.
And it just gets worse later on in the episode.
Yeah. They tell him he tells him he's going to find some new lodgings for him, that the old ones probably just held some bad memories for him. So they're just taking shots at him.
Ooh, shots fired.
It's at the beginning of that scene, though, that they kind of pay off what was going on in the intro. So I told you before about the treaty that the king offered the IRA, and that there was a split, and that there were the IRA and there were the pro-treaty Irish who were kind of fighting amongst each other at that point.
Right.
And so that's what that was. It was Moss asked him if he reads basically like national news, because Moss says he reads the local paper. And he was talking about how the IRA is not happy with the pro-treaty group. So that was what was going on in that scene. It was this pro-treaty being attacked by somebody from the IRA.
Okay, that's kind of what I was thinking, but I think I just kind of like get past that part or like that scene and then just kind of like forget about it. I don't know. I really don't know what happens because I'm just like, I'm not paying attention to that, like the significance of it anymore. And I knew that they were talking about it, in the next scene. I don't know. I just moved on apparently.
Well, and especially at the beginning of an episode when it's not necessarily a major plot thread,
Well, and it doesn't have any major. I mean, there's no characters like main characters at all, or even minor characters that have been shown before. So, and this is the first time that that's happened in this show, in a beginning sequence, I think, if I remember correctly, or at least Tommy or one of the Shelbys hasn't been in the opening sequence or something.
I think we've seen. Yeah, okay. I was going to say, there's been a couple where we've started with some average person doing some work.
Okay.
But it usually, one of our main characters comes in pretty quickly.
Right. Before they end up dropping the title card or whatever, they usually come in. Because I would call that your opening sequence.
Yeah.
From the opening scenes to the title card. So, yeah, I don't know, it just kind of throws me for a loop, I guess, that, there's no real main characters in that one, so I just kind of write it off, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it just doesn't, there's nothing to tie it to.
Right.
Like, if you just open the episode, you're just kind of like, why? Okay, well, there's a lot of killing going on right now, so this is probably just some...
It's just another day, man.
Just some Peaky Blinder business,
it's
or
just
something like
day.
something that, yeah. But yeah, no, it's pro-treaty against IRA. So at the garrison, Tommy, Arthur, John, they're all basically taking, I guess you could say, interviews with guys that they're going to have stood up for illegal gambling. Basically, there's like a big press for the police to be doing something about the illegal gambling and making some arrests.
Well, they're not meeting their quota, according to Thomas.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's why they're trying to get all these guys. Like, they're trying to help them meet their quota because they're getting pressure from above them, their bosses or whatever, or the government on trying to crack down on this. And so they're just trying to help them out by, okay, well, here's just some random people. That way the government will get off your back and everybody can go their separate ways. That's how I understood it.
Okay. And so they're paying people to basically be set up. And this kid who comes in doesn't have a record, so he'll have a really light sentence. He'll only be in for about a week, Tommy says. But the kid's not affiliated with them. Like, he's not one of the blinders, so...
He's super innocent looking.
Yeah. He was just a big fan of movie cowboys.
Yeah. When you say cowboy movies, Tom Mix, pictures...
Yeah.
Called himself the Digbeth Kid. Like Billy the Kid.
Yeah.
Because they asked him his name, and that's what he comes up with. He goes, Digbeth Kid. Of course, they just looked at him like, what? And he's like, oh, like Billy the Kid. And, of course, they just keep staring at him. He finally comes out with his real name, which I don't even remember what he said his real name was.
Harold Hancock.
There you go, Harold Hancock, yeah. Yeah.
But I took a quote also from the end there. When Arthur, he said, kids these days. And then Tommy responded with, they didn't fight in the war, so they're different. So it's just kind of that...
It's the difference between that little slight generation difference.
Yeah.
Because like you're saying, I mean, they the three of them, all saw horrific things, killed a buttload of people, in the war. And this kid is just like, he looks like a mama's boy,
Yeah.
very sheltered. And
He has a wooden
whatnot.
gun in his holster.
That's what I like too. And his sister made his gun belt out of an old blacksmith apron. But I liked it when he pulled. He's like, "Here, I got a real gun." Of course, they're like, "No, don't you draw that thing."
Yeah.
Of course, they draw all their guns on him, thinking that he's got a real gun. He's gonna shoot him or whatever. That was one of the parts I liked too, because then Tommy takes his wooden gun and starts shooting, Arthur and John. Of course, he shoots John. John's taking that puff of cigarette smoke, and when he shoots him, he goes like, he blows the smoke out of his mouth straight up into the air like he got shot. Just kind of a little fun moment for the brothers. Oh, and then what is it? John said something about what does he say? Something about running out of town or something. Getting run out. It was like some old cowboy saying or whatever. Or something you hear like in a cowboy movie. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, something about if you don't get run out of town first.
Yeah, something like that.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
So at the end of last episode, we got Michael showing up at Polly's house to try to come find out who was his mother. We kind of pick up where we left off there, and Polly's getting Michael some breakfast.
Breakfast.
We can already see that, like I said last episode, that Michael, like, he's interested to find out who his mother is, but he's also come looking for Tommy. After meeting him there that day, I think he already is kind of starting to idolize him. And so he asked some questions about Tommy, who he is, what he does. Arthur and John come busting up into the house, and at first they've got their guns out and they're just kind of acting wild.
I think they're still playing cowboys, man.
Okay.
I think they're still in that mode, shooting each other. Because that was another funny part too. Is like it just kind of continued from the pub, and of course they're just acting all goofy like that. And John sees Michael and Polly, but then Arthur doesn't. Of course he shoots John. And he's like, "John, you're dead. Go down."
Yeah. So he meets them for the first time. Polly introduces them all.
Did you notice though that they've mistaken him for not her son?
Yeah, they thought that he was a man friend.
Yeah. Because they're kind of smiling, kind of chuckling about it. And of course, then Tommy introduced him, to their cousin. Cousin, right?
Yeah.
And then they were talking about some of the things they did when they were younger with him, like Arthur saying throwing him out. He threw him out of a window down where John could catch him in the street or something like that. And then I'm trying to remember what John said, something about putting him in like a box or something, shoving him down some road. I don't remember.
Yeah, Arthur's was that he used to throw him out the window to John, who would catch him.
Yeah.
And then John's was that he would put him in a shoebox and kick him all the way down whatever lane that was.
Yeah, there you go. Watery Lane or something. I think it was like Watery Lane.
Okay.
Anyway.
Tommy goes to a meeting with Billy Kitchen. Billy Kitchen he was a guy he's a gypsy, and he was in the war with Tommy. He's got several connections to Tommy. Is he a
gypsy? Wait, where did you see that he was a gypsy?
I don't think they're, I can't remember their family name, but I guess it's, I don't know if it's really Kitchen. Maybe it is. But what do they call them? What is it? The Black Camp Boys?
I'm trying to remember here.
Oh, Black Country.
And then what was the other name, though?
His last name is Kitchen.
No. I'm saying, because they're talking about, they got that name and then the name that, like, because I guess there were, I always took it that those names were like their, well, not really their, like, company names in the war, but they're talking, like, war-related. You know what I'm saying? Maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah.
I thought they were.
I don't know. Maybe. It doesn't go into, like, a lot of that, you know? You just know that they, like, watch these certain waterways and stuff, and before they would kind of try to loot anybody that came through, like even the blinders.
Okay, yeah. Black Country Boys and Brummy Boys. That's what Tommy says. It's like he's calling his group, the Brummy Boys, are on the same side again.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, I always took it as, because I thought they were talking about the war, but I guess not. Of course, he makes a lot of references to him here in this episode about being a soldier and different stuff like that, and having men under his command. I don't know. Maybe that's how I took it, but I guess maybe it was a deal of they had worked together before, not war related. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Kind of like with the deal he struck with the other gypsies when he married John off, to their clan.
Yeah.
Lee boys or Lee family.
The Lee family.
Yeah.
So basically, Tommy kind of fills him in on what's going on. There's a lot of money to be made in London. They're looking to take over, and he's just kind of laying the basics there for him of what's going to be happening. So Michael goes to see Tommy. He basically wants to stay and get involved with things in the company. He's just like really eager and doesn't know a whole lot about them. One of the quotes I took from Tommy in this scene is, "You think it's okay, but it's not okay, and people get hurt." And it's just kind of that, the show almost reassures you every now and again that, like, Tommy's not necessarily a bad person, that the world's not black and white, that sometimes, like, it gets gray, and sometimes it gets gray because you have to get by.
Right.
And so I think that's just kind of something to kind of remind you there that Tommy knows that the things that they do, a lot of the things that they do aren't okay.
But he does them because he feels it's necessary to live.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
I always felt like, as a whole, especially as the show goes on, I always kind of felt like this scene was kind of an important one between Michael and Tommy, because again, it's like he's always. I don't know. He's very hesitant when he meets Michael about bringing him into the business. And we'll see that, later in this episode and next couple of ones or whatever. Of course, Polly, I think she's very protective of him. She, especially since she found out her daughter died, she doesn't want to lose both of them, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So she's obviously very protective of him, and I don't want to say necessarily 100% that Tommy is against him doing anything for the company, but I think there's definitely a piece of him that has always not really wanted him to come into the company. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And again, like I said, I think that's it, looking at the series as a whole, because I don't want to spoil anything ahead of time or whatever, but I just think there's a lot of things that I always come back to, like this scene, or like even like when he first meets him, a couple of different scenes like that, and Michael's trying to get in with them and do different things with them, that Tommy's just very hesitant, and it's just, I don't know, it's very important to me. You know what I'm saying, man? You feel me? You feel me? I said a lot there. So make sure you're still with me. You're not asleep.
Yeah. No, that's true. And Tommy just has a good eye for that too, I think. And Michael is just smart enough that nobody should discount him, even at this point.
Right.
Tommy basically tells him that he needs to go home. He says that he can come back whenever he turns 18. He's just like a couple weeks outside his birthday at this point.
Yeah, and that keeps coming up is the whole deal of, well, you're not 18 yet, you can't make your own decisions. Well, Michael's hell-bent on, I can't make my own decisions. I came all the way out here on my own.
Yeah.
I rode the train. I slept out on the street, apparently. Isn't that what we kind of determined was, like, he probably just slept out on the street waiting for Polly to come home that night in the last episode. In Birmingham, nonetheless, Yeah. So, I mean, he's gained that right to make his own decision, Yeah. And I get coming from, like, needing to maybe at least let Polly in on it and not just kind of go behind her back on all this stuff, but, it's, I don't know.
But Michael won't go home. He just keeps refusing, and it's obvious he's not planning on going anywhere.
Well, he makes that big speech about, the what is it, the wishing well in the village, with the white bricks, and he kind of paints a pretty picture, and then he just like kind of turns. He's like, I hate that pretty white brick wishing well, and if I have to see it one more time, I'm gonna blow it all to hell. Even if that means I'm going to lose my hands in the process.
Yeah.
It's like he's just hell-bent. It's like, I'm not going back. I'm drawing the line in the sand right here, right now. I'm not going back.
Yeah. But we go from there to the start of the takeover in London. And we get another really good Red Right Hand cover. It's the Arctic Monkeys cover of the song. Billy Kitchen's leading the army into Camden Town. They're all going to go get jobs at the bakery. And I know they're just they're supplying like muscle for Alfie right now, but I'm not sure how much work like actually at the bakery / distillery that they're actually going to be doing.
Well, I think there's a little bit. There is a scene later on where a bunch of them are, like, they're moving cargo around. But I'm sure there's not a whole heck of a lot going on. It was just more of a front to be like, oh, well, where are all these guys? Why are all these guys up here in London all of a sudden? Oh, well, no, they're just here working for Alfie Solomon's in his bakery, you know. Like, oh, okay, whatever. Because, I mean, all of a sudden, 100 men show up in the city, word's going to get around to different people. It's like, well, why are all these guys here? What are they here for? What's about to happen?
Yeah.
Especially if they find out gypsies and then they start putting 1 and 2 together. Gypsies? Oh, Tommy Shelby. Because, Sabini, he knows he's a gypsy.
Yeah.
So he'll put that together. Anyway, go ahead.
Alfie's handing out paperwork to everybody, and I just love the line he's giving to everybody there. Fill it out, fuck off.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
Um,
Except one man. Which always made me wonder about that. He didn't say that to Billy Kitchens. Of course, everybody was coming in, giving their occupation as just baker. Billy Kitchens walks in and he says, head baker. Like he's the leader. I'm the ringleader here, you know.
Yeah.
I'll be doing it. I'm not taking any orders. And of course, you know, Alfie just kind of looks at him and then says, you know, what did he say? Whatever the first part of his phrase was, but then he doesn't say the other part. You're just kind of like, okay. And then, of course, he makes that comment to his right-hand man about, you know, Tommy Shelby letting, I don't remember exactly what he said, but like basically letting people in charge or whatever. You know, I don't even remember what he said exactly.
He said, "Don't ever put the big man in charge."
There you go. Yeah.
Never put the big man in charge. So Alfie's got them all lined up. He starts going over the rules, and one of the guys cracks a joke. He kind of loses it. He knocks the guy out right there. I don't know what he's gotten is. It looks like a piece of like rebar.
Yeah, it's gotta be.
I can't remember what they're called. It's a type of like cane, and I can't remember what they're called. They've all got different names. There's an Irish one that's called a shillelagh.
Right.
And I can't remember what those are called, but it looks like a piece of like twisted rebar.
Yeah.
Which would also hurt really bad. But he catches this guy in the face with it, and
no, he catches the other guy.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah, he hits the
here's
guy
the thing about it,
next to
though. Let's back up though, because I want to paint a little bit better picture here. Tommy Shelby's the one that's giving all the rules. He's kind of telling him, here's what's going to happen, blah, blah, blah. We're going to try to find you lodgings for the time being. You're going to stay here in the bread factory, whatever. And so it's like he's kind of the leader, and Alfie's just kind of like the muscle because this guy cracks a joke when he asks for any questions. And it's like Tommy just kind of looks at him, then just kind of looks back over at Alfie, and Alfie steps up and just comes right in that guy's face, just stares him down. And then always catches me because he knocks out the guy to that dude's right. And it's like that guy didn't say anything. And like, what am I getting hit for, Yeah, he gets like totally knocked out. And then, of course, Alfie tells him, he's like, he'll wake up. And when he does, the only memory he's going to have is of your stupid, funny joke.
Yeah, but it's a good move because he could have just beat the guy right there.
Right.
But he beat the other guy so that the other guy will probably kill this guy.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it turns everybody else on you because you're stepping out of line. I totally get it. I get why he did it. I always think it's hilarious,
it sucks for the other guy.
Yeah, it sucks for the other dude. But then he starts listing out his rules, for his bakery, which are just hilarious. And great delivery, too, by Tom Hardy, acting-wise. But what is it? The first one he says is the distinction between bread and rum, which we learned in the last episode when Tommy met Alfie for the first time. He says it's a bakery, like they make bread here. Well, his bread is really rum. And so he's talking about, first rule is the distinction between bread and rum is not discussed, which he's kind of going through these rules, and the only thing I can think of at the time was the first rule of Fight Club is don't talk about Fight Club. That's all I can think of, because then he gets to the point where he's like, rule number 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, I don't care, whatever, you don't talk about this place or whatever. So all I could think of was just Fight Club the whole time he's saying that.
Yeah. Because the second rule is the same as the first. Don't talk about Fight Club.
Exactly.
And so you're kind of you've gotten to feel already that Alfie's kind of crazy, but especially during this scene, you're seeing that like he's not somebody to be messed with.
No.
And I think Tommy also sees that on another level in this scene because he pulls Billy aside and says, whatever you have to do, make this work.
Right, yeah.
Because
he doesn't want any problems, man. Again, it's like, I'm just trying to get this done. I don't need anybody from the outside messing this up.
Yeah. I put down, too, that like he knows it's a shaky deal.
Right. And if it gets messed up because of some guy's stupid class clown joke, I'm going to be pissed about it. So it's like, make sure this thing works.
Yeah. So Tommy goes to see, I've noticed he's very efficient in like how he makes all these trips. It's like
That's what I was thinking too. He's always not like going out of his way, be like, oh, I gotta go back to this way or whatever. It's all like along his route.
Yeah, every time he goes into Camden Town, he always goes back through London so that he can stop and see Ada. So he goes back through, he stops at Ada's place. He says that he wants her to help him with properties, and I think basically, because he doesn't fight her on it, I think basically the plan was he was going to be buying up a bunch of low-income places to rent out, and then
I think it's for these guys though. I think that's what he was talking about. It's for, because remember he was saying something about, at this time we don't have living quarters for you, so you're going to be sleeping here in the bakery.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's what I always took it as. It's like he's trying to find these places for them to rent.
Yeah, I didn't even
make
think
them look
about
like
that.
ordinary citizens just in, London or Camden Town or wherever.
Yeah. Yeah, and well, because, and I guess I just kind of fell in with what Ada was saying that she thought he wanted it for. She thought he basically was going to buy up these properties, rent them out, and then never take care of them or fix them or anything like that.
Right,
and
like
just,
a bad landlord or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she says that it's men like you that we're fighting against.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she says she's offering, she's offering advice to people somewhere in town, people who are in like these bad situations, kind of oppressed people.
Oh, at the library.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And so yeah, she tells him that it's it's the kind of men like you that we're fighting against. So Tommy he doesn't even fight her anymore on that. He just gets up and goes to leave. She tells him that there's people watching her house all the time, and he says if there wasn't anybody watching, then I couldn't sleep at night.
Right. Gangsters of the worst kind.
Yeah.
As he says.
But they're there to keep you safe.
Which then she says, no, they're not. They're not ordinary people. They're like coppers.
Yeah, she says there's police watching sometimes too.
Which he kind of pauses, and it always kind of made me wonder. But then he reassures her by saying, well, they're on your side too.
Yeah.
Which then she kind of goes back to the whole thing of I'm not a Shelby or a Thorn. I'm neither. She goes, well, I don't have a side. They're not on my side because I don't have a side, man. I'm not with y'all. Still some pushback there for sure.
Yeah. So Polly takes Michael to her new house, the one that Tommy and the boys bought for her for her birthday. I think she's just trying to... I think she's kind of trying to put on airs with him, She's trying to make it seem like they're respectable now,
That's to impress him. Of course, she's behind the 8-ball from the very beginning, coming in, home on the walk of shame, looking like a party-year prostitute or something, to her son. So
yeah,
she's having to make her make up as she's going here.
But they go to the new house. She's got a maid. She rings the bell, and she can't even bring herself to ask for the tea.
She just sits there smiling at him, man.
Yeah,
it's creepy.
So Michael asks for the tea for her. He tells her that she'll get used to it. And I think the scene's just there to just kind of show you he doesn't really care about that stuff,
Right.
He cares, especially at this time, about them because he's found this family that's so much more than he could have ever imagined.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's there just to kind of show you that kind of bond that's forming there.
Oh, for sure, yeah. It's the little moments that matter.
Yeah. Another one of my favorite songs in this album or in this episode plays. It's Royal Blood, and it's Out of the Black.
Yeah.
And it's fitting with Arthur doing a bunch of coke at the Garrison.
Little Tokyo fuel.
Yeah. And it's early. I don't know what time they're opening their bar, but, I mean, he's, like, opening. It's, like, opening time.
Right. Cocaine at 9 in the morning?
So the first person in doesn't wind up being a customer. It's the mother of the boy that he killed in the boxing ring in the last episode. She comes in with the gun pulled on him, and
she's not steady aim at all. Of course, she's nervous, but good lord, her aim is horrible.
Yeah,
shaking all over the place.
She just kind of goes on about who her son was, about how Arthur's an animal, and it just kind of, the show does a good job of showing you how they affect the people around them, like how their business affects other people, and people who aren't even really involved,
Right.
It's like one thing, to be with them and to, accept the consequences of like whatever happens, but there's a lot of people who are kind of on the outside of them who are starting to get touched by this.
Right, yeah.
Of
course, she said, she tells Arthur that, the family's got to be stopped. Somebody's got to stop you guys.
Yeah.
Because you're just running rampant all over the place, and like you said, it's just kind of bringing these innocent people into it.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like you had said it on the last episode when it happened. It's like, why is he fighting these like younger kids?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, some of them probably want to be, I don't know, maybe the older guys who like know Arthur have better sense.
Yeah, than to do that or whatever. Some rookie doesn't even know who he is or whatever.
Yeah.
Or his reputation.
Probably just doing what he's told.
Right. Did you? I don't know if you got to this part yet or not, but she ended up firing off a shot, hitting the mirror, and he ended up disarming her. But my favorite part of that whole scene is she finally leaves, and
he tells her they're gonna get a fund set up for her son because she has other sons who like need to be taken care of.
Right, we'll get them jobs, we'll take care of you guys, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's like she's leaving, and like right as she hits the door, here comes John in, like nothing happened, just chilling, and sees the mirror. He's like, oh, who broke the mirror, man? It's gonna be 7 years bad luck.
Yeah. I also wrote down the 7 years bad luck because I think it's a funny scene, but also because there's a lot of bad things that happen to them, like over the course of these next few years.
I never even really thought about that.
And so, like, I wrote that down also because I felt like it was possibly like a little bit of foreshadowing,
Yeah.
Not necessarily like a direct result kind of thing.
Right.
But
that's still crazy to think about because I didn't even think about that before. That'd be kind of cool, though, if it was foreshadowing. Like, they actually wrote that in there for that.
Yeah, and this was the first time I noticed it. So in Camden Town, they're unloading crates and loading crates, and Charlie complains about the work. He basically says this is just like a job now. Like, we basically just have given us jobs.
It's not even fun anymore.
Yeah. That was the other part I wrote down, that it's not any fun going through the Black Country Boys territory anymore. He said they just smile at you and wave from the bank.
Yeah. You just got to smile and wave back, Charlie. That's all you got to do, man.
Hello. Charlie wants a fight. They want some sport out there.
Right. It's boring.
Yeah.
When you're used to a certain lifestyle and all of a sudden it gets safe and comfortable.
Yeah.
For a guy like him, it's like, oh, this sucks.
And we get these couple little random short scenes of the work going on in Camden Town, like the importing, exporting, and it's just all to kind of build to show you kind of where they're going with that later in the episode. Like, what is kind of his end game there based on the sanctions that he got from Churchill.
Right.
So we go over to Major Campbell. I almost called him Inspector Campbell. Major Campbell. He's looking at a picture of Grace that he's got in his wallet. Super creepy.
Which is funny because he said earlier to Moss, I don't have any memories, from like the last time I was here or whatever. Like he's basically saying I put all that behind me. I don't care about her, blah, blah. Well, dude, you got a picture in your wallet, so.
Yeah, and this is also clearly personal. Like, it's not.
It's a personal vendetta.
Yeah. That's why Tommy has been chosen for this. Like, it's all pointing towards what happened.
You mean it wasn't a lottery?
No, in the first season.
Oh, man.
And Campbell's at his new lodgings. He leaves from there. He just says he was going out for some air, and Tommy's waiting for him outside.
Here comes a zinger. I can feel it.
He's basically just there to show Campbell that he knows where he is, like that he knows where he's staying. It's just kind of a power play.
Well, it's funny though, because Campbell's not impressed.
Yeah.
Which you'd almost think Tommy probably knows that he's not impressed by him knowing, but he's got a little something else for him.
They talk about Tommy basically throws at him like, "Did you know about my deal with Churchill?" And Campbell says that they all thought it was really funny that everybody in the room had a good laugh about it.
Which I don't think he believed, because he was like, "Oh, they laughed about it, huh?"
No, yeah, he flipped it on him. He's like, do the gentlemen sometimes find you very funny? So they're just firing some shots back and forth at each other. But then Tommy throws at him that the lodging that Moss had set up for him was run by she was a prostitute from, I can't remember where it was. It was, it starts with an S. I can't remember. It's right around there, Birmingham. That she used to run it, and then Tommy says, and she's only semi-retired.
She had the best whorehouse around, apparently.
Yeah. And so Moss and the other cops have basically just tried to further humiliate Campbell.
It's a setup.
Yeah, by setting him up at that place. And so Tommy gets kind of the last word in there. Campbell just tells him, "You made your point about all this," and he gets out of there.
Of course, the other thing too was they have an agreement on once a week at a certain time at a certain place that they have agreed upon for meeting each other for business that has to do with their arrangement of Tommy being the chosen one. And Major Campbell's kind of mad because Tommy's breaking that. He keeps telling it's like, this is not the day for us to meet. We're not supposed to be. This is not the place. This is not the time. If you want to meet me, we meet on. I think it was like a Sunday. I think is when they're supposed to meet. So he keeps telling that we just need to meet at this time. Blah blah blah. Of course, Tommy's like, no, I'm gonna tell you this right now.
Yeah, the way he has to take the opportunity to prove those couple points that he was trying to get in there.
Right, exactly.
And he's just trying to show Campbell that he's one step ahead, that he can't beat him.
Right. Even though Campbell knows he's always behind.
Yeah.
He just doesn't want to admit it. Just like everything else. He doesn't want to admit that he's over Grace. He doesn't want to admit that he doesn't have a personal vendetta for Tommy Shelby.
Yeah. Back at the police station, all these guys at the Blinders have paid off to go in for illegal gambling or being taken into custody. And it's just kind of a funny scene because the Harold Hancock's kid doesn't know how to go about this like at all. So he, when they ask him what his profession is, he says that he's an illegal bookmaker. And they're like, no,
You're not supposed to say that.
You're supposed to say something normal. You're supposed to say you're an umbrella mender. So just kind of a funny scene there with him not really knowing anything about what he's supposed to be doing here.
I mean, it definitely shows his innocence.
Yeah.
You know? He doesn't know any better.
Moss just basically takes everything that he says and twists it into the way he needs it to sound for the record. And just writes in his own words. So I think this is where Sabini's I don't know where he's at. This must be like one of his restaurants or clubs or something.
I was thinking a club probably.
Because there's like a boxing. Well, no, it's not even a boxing ring.
It'd be like a boxing ring.
Yeah, but it's not.
It is, but it isn't.
Yeah, it's not like a raised floor or anything. It's just it's literally just like some ropes set up around.
I still think it's a boxing ring, but it's like, I mean, again, if it's at a club, it's probably more intimate.
Yeah.
Whereas, we're all on the same level here, You can just kind of lean up against the ropes as you watch somebody fighting. Have you ever noticed, though, there's blood on the floor?
Yeah.
I always kind of wonder, where did that come from? What was the deal?
It kind of
Because it looked pretty fresh.
Yeah.
It didn't look dried.
Yeah. I don't know. It did look fresh, which kind of throws off like what I had originally thought. My original thought was that he like always leaves some there. Like he always leaves some blood there, like kind of as a reminder, But it did look really fresh, so maybe it's just meant to show you that something crazy happened there just pretty recently.
For a reminder of what, though?
I don't know. I guess just how brutal he is. Like, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. It makes me think a little bit of, I don't know if you've watched Invincible at all, but it makes me think of that because they leave, like after this big like hero massacre, they leave one like patch of blood on the wall at it'd be like the Hall of Justice, like equivalent for like the Justice League,
Okay.
And they leave like one patch of blood on the wall to remind like the next group that like this is what can happen.
Okay.
But yeah, it's probably more likely that Sabini had some guy like killed right there or killed some guy right there and then sat down to eat that sandwich.
Right. Okay. I got what you're saying.
He's so crazy. So I don't know if I'm sure at some point they mentioned this guy's name.
I don't ever really remember them saying his name.
But he's just not like a prominent enough character, I guess, to really have, for them to be saying his name all the time.
Right. Unknown henchman.
Yeah, it's this guy who's basically Sabini's right-hand man. And he comes in and he's been following Tommy around. Sabini wants him to have killed him by this point, but he's having a hard time getting to him. And that's just kind of their own doing. If they hadn't drawn out killing him so long, they would have killed Tommy already in that first episode. But now that, they left him alive, so he's got an army around him all the time. So it's really hard for them to get to him. He says that he knows that... And it's weird that they, singled this kid out. Did you think it was weird that they singled out the Harold Hancock kid? He's like,
I
we
guess.
know...
I don't know. I guess I don't really think about that because, it's not like they had all these other guys. They didn't ever show any of the other guys coming in, giving their descriptions or whatever. So, the show really honed in on him. You know what I'm saying? So I don't really ever think about all the other guys. But I get your point. I don't know, because they did say something about, there was a report that one of the Peaky Blinders bookies was in the green. I mean, unless maybe they send them to like different areas, like different prisons or whatever, or different holding places instead of all in one spot, you know?
Yeah.
But it is kind of interesting. I mean, now you say that, that they did single him out.
It was just weird because they single him out like he's somebody important, and he's literally like a nobody on the biggest level, you know?
Right. Well, and then the other thing too is like they obviously they don't know that he's just a stand-up. You know, he's really not part of their gang. He has no ties to them at all, except for just this one little instance, you know?
Yeah.
And so, I don't know, man. Yeah, that's crazy because I never really even thought about that before. About, like, why did they single him out? Of course, we don't even know how many people they actually really ended up choosing. You know, the other thing, too, was, like, I wonder, now you say that, I wonder if, like, he was the only one that they chose. Because Tommy had made a point to him that everybody else in the pub, when they were doing the interviews, has some type of criminal background.
Yeah.
And this kid doesn't. Now, I don't know what significance that would have, but I don't know. It just kind of makes me wonder if he was the only one then that they sent to kind of make it look like normal and not, I don't know, out of the ordinary, that, oh, they're just sending a bunch of regulars back in.
Yeah.
You know.
He might have been the only one that they could get to.
Maybe so, yeah.
But basically, Sabini's man's thought there is that in the meantime, until they can get to Tommy, they're going to strike back at him to send a message.
Right.
So we get another, like, back and forth scene. More of Billy Kitchen in Camden Town, loading, unloading. And then the other half of that scene is Harold Hancock's in his cell. Two of Sabini's men come in, and they beat him. And then they tell the other guy that this is what happens to blinders who come into the Green. And I guess the Green is the name of that prison?
I guess either the prison or the prison block, maybe.
Yeah. And he said it's a message from Sabini.
Because they may, you know what? They may have, like, you're in a certain part of the prison for, depending on, like, what you've done. Because, I mean, obviously they're not going to put all the murderers in with, you know, petty theft or whatever.
Yeah.
You know.
The bookmakers.
Right, yeah. So, I don't know. Maybe it was just, like, a prison block. Now that going back on your question earlier about like singling him out, I wondered if that guy that's with him in there though that they were trying to send the message to about, you know, let other people know that, you know, Peaky Blinders are not welcome on the Green or whatever. I wondered if maybe he's one of those guys too, one of those stand-ups. But then why wouldn't they kill him too? Unless, well, I mean, I guess just unless they needed somebody to be the messenger, you know?
Yeah, I think he was just supposed to be the messenger.
But do you think he's part of that stand-up, though?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, that was just my assumption.
Well, I never really thought about that until just now when you had mentioned all that, so.
But they cut Hancock's throat, and they kill him right there in the cell.
Brutally, by the way. Slitting his throat and holding his head back so it'll drain out quick. I always hate that scene, man, because anything with, like, my neck, I'm like, yeah. And seeing people get that stuff done to them, I'm like, yeah.
It's pretty brutal.
I always end up having to grab my neck and kind of, like, protect that area, thinking somebody's right behind me about to do it to me.
At a family meeting, Tommy tells everybody about Hancock's. Basically, their plan is that Scudboat's going to take somebody else with him. They're going to get arrested, and they're going to go inside after these guys.
Got to break some windows to get in. Of course, Scudboat does not like that.
No, he
He's like,
wants
why
to-
can't I just like steal a car or something? Because everybody else has got cars around here. Why can't I have a car?
Yeah.
What do you say? I'm still riding a bloody donkey.
Yeah, still riding the donkey. But the thought there is just that they won't be able to get these guys to do this for him if they can't protect him while they're inside.
Right.
Tommy also brings up to Polly that they want to buy a racehorse. I think this is the first horse that they've probably owned for racing like this. It made it seem like that.
But what about the first horse, though?
Okay, yeah.
What, a Monahan boy?
Yeah.
Is that what they call it? No. That wasn't their horse, was it? I'm talking about the one at the very beginning, like that they did the magic trick on or whatever.
Yeah, that was Monahan Boy.
Was that Monahan boy? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that was their horse. What didn't you think? I mean, they kept it in Charlie's yard,
Yeah, probably.
so I guess that's.
And
That was
they
their
bought
horse.
the... I don't know, maybe this is their first time like buying a horse like at auction like this, or because they bought the horse from
Okay,
the
yeah.
Lees that they were
Yeah.
going to use for racing.
Right. Yep.
I think it's just kind of the first of this kind. And I don't know what the rate there is, but what did he say? 10,000?
No, he needed 1,000 guinea,
Okay, 1,000 guinea.
whatever that is.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure because he winds up paying.
About 2,000.
It's like 2,000 pounds, right?
I think something like that.
And I don't know. I don't know.
Let's not do the math.
Let's not.
This is not the math show. If we want to do another podcast about math, we can do that. Whatever.
So they're planning on buying a racehorse. Michael kind of budges into the meeting. He's been listening the whole time. He says he wants to help. He knows horses. He's been to horse auctions and stuff before. He's just kind of trying to push his way in because he's trying to find a foothold for him to be useful in this family.
Right.
But Polly doesn't want to let him. She's just kind of trying to safeguard him. She doesn't want anything to happen. She just got him back. He's only been with her for like a week or something. So when the meeting's over, John pulls Polly aside, and the quote that I took from this scene was from John. He said, "By the time I was Michael's age, I'd killed over 100 men, and I'd seen 1,000 die." And so just, again, kind of showing you that difference in the... I mean, it's not even like a full generation, but...
Just the age difference. I mean,
Yeah,
growing
what
up
they've
and
had to
everything
go
like that.
through.
But he's basically saying it's like if you want him to, basically run away from you and not want to be around you or be with you or whatever, then keep on the path that you're going right now. Keep him under your thumb, under your watchful eye every 24 hours, of the day, and he's gonna resent you. Let him be. Let him come along. Let him tag along. Let him do what he wants to do. He's almost 18, people.
Back at Polly's house, Michael asks about his dad. And we never really hear a whole lot about Polly's husband. But she says he used to sing and play piano. He had a really nice smile. And when Michael asks how he died, she says that it was a real, it was a real gypsy's death. He died between a lock and a boat.
Yeah. Yep.
When she tells Michael that his problem, like his real problem, was that he fell in with the wrong people, and that was kind of his demise.
Which kind of shows, why she's so worried about letting him get into the family business and everything.
Yeah.
She doesn't want that to happen to him. Understandably so.
Yeah. But Michael lets Polly go to the auction. This is one of my favorite scenes in the episode where they pull off on the way to the auction. on the side of the road, and Michael asks if anybody wants tea and sandwiches.
Sandwiches?
Because Polly made tea and sandwiches.
Was it, I don't remember what the first one was, but then he said shrimp paste. He was like, ugh.
Yeah, ham and shrimp paste.
You ever had shrimp paste?
No.
I don't even know. No, I don't even want to think about it. That does not sound good.
Yeah, that sounds awful.
Of course, they start poking fun at him for it. And
yeah, I love the way Tommy says it though. He's like, right, we're going to drink the tea, we're going to eat the sandwiches, and get back on the road.
Eat your sandwich!
So they get to the auction. There's a woman there kind of across the way who, right from the time they come in, she's kind of intrigued with Tommy and the rest of the group. She asks her father why people come late to the auctions, and he says because they know the horse they want. Like, you wouldn't come to see all of them if the one horse that you're bidding on is at the very end.
Right. He makes the point, is like, not everybody's like you. Not everybody wants to see all of them.
Yeah. I'm not really sure why she does it, but she... Like, ultimately, I've thought about it several times, like, from several different ways, and I don't know why she bets against Tommy here. Like, I don't know if it's just for him to, like, notice her.
Probably so, dude. I think she was always kind of attracted to him.
Yeah.
Did you know that that's Tom Hardy's wife?
The lady who plays May?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Charlotte Riley.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, they're married in real life.
He would have gotten the horse for around 1,000.
But no!
But she starts a bidding war with him. And they get it up to 2,000 before they finally let Tommy have the horse.
Right.
It's her father that's there doing most of the betting. It's just kind of another funny scene when Tommy's giving his information for where they need to get the horse transported to. Everything he mentions just kind of points to him being a gypsy. And the way the auctioneer kind of questions him, he asks him what he does for a living, and Tommy says it's import-export, but I also sell pegs and tell fortunes. So I just kind of like the way that he...
I was kind of waiting for him to tell that guy his fortune.
threw it back at him there. So Tommy's about to head out, and May introduces herself. They talk for a little bit. Just kind of some basic introductions about what she does, about what he does. And I just love in the background the whole time how Arthur and John are yelling at him about how they got to get back to the caravans because they got to take care of the chickens.
Typical friends, man.
Yeah. Just trying to, again, make him sound like he's nobody.
Right.
So as they're leaving there, the whole time that they've been there, Curly's been talking about a bad feeling that he has. He's got a bad feeling that, and it kind of points you towards, it could be the horse because they had problems with the horse, before the horse they got from Elise. It kind of points towards May, like she might be the problem. But as they're leaving, they walk back through the auction ring, and Sabini's man is there and takes a shot at Tommy. He's there with another guy, and before he can shoot Tommy, Arthur gets him. John grabs the other guy, but it's just kind of a panic there for a minute. A few shots do get fired, and it's just a few different things right there. It's, first of all, this is Michael's first outing with them.
Welcome to the family.
Yeah, this is the first time he's been out with them doing anything like this, and this is what happens. There's somebody who tries to assassinate Tommy at a horse auction, a place where
you would least expect that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's what the guy said. He said he was going to go after him when he got out of his comfort zone. And Michael's pretty much unfazed by everything happening here. He tells Tommy that he's fine to drive, like he's gonna bring the car around, and Arthur just kind of goes psycho on
Mad Dog.
Sabini's guy there. I didn't see if he like bit something. He bite his ear.
Yeah,
or...
I don't know. I think he was trying to bite his ear, but then when he spit out, I never saw anything come out. But
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. He was just like barely alive too. Like,
Yeah, I don't know
Tommy-
how he survived that.
And Tommy checked him, and he was just barely alive.
He's still, what do you say? He's still breathing. Don't get blood on the kid.
Yeah. So they get out of there. When Michael gets home that night, he basically plays it off to Polly like nothing happened at all. But the way he describes it, that they were great, Mom, like really great.
Really,
and it's to show you how
really
like
great.
already he's looking up to the three of them so much.
Right. Yep. He's into it, man.
Yeah. And then you just kind of get the wrap up on it. John and Arthur, post fight, they're just at Arthur's house. Tommy in his office, and he's just kind of going over the card that May gave him. And right as it kind of comes to a close there, he looks at the phone number and then takes a peek over at the phone. So he's going to give her a call, and probably for more than just the horse training.
Oh. Gonna go out for some tea, maybe?
Yeah.
See a baseball game?
A baseball game.
Well, I guess we're in England. Soccer game?
Cricket.
Cricket?
All right. Well, that brings us to the end of episode 3. We'll be back next week with season 2, episode 4.